Now let's check out these folder structure over here. So this folder that we have created in the previous video, I think I'll attach the link to the GitHub link to this folder structure here. You can go through it, or you can clone it, you can download it, and then you can use. But you can go to the previous video, and then you can try to create your own React application first, and then you can proceed further, right? Okay. Now coming to this folder structure, if you see the first, so this is the application that we had created in the previous video, that is called React tutorial over here. So when we had done the create React app using create React app, we did create this application, right? So these folder got created automatically because of the scaffolding thing of create React app. Okay. Now first you will see the node modules. So what is the node modules? Node modules is basically the libraries or the dependencies of those libraries that get installed as part of the folder creation process. What do you mean by that? So whatever libraries will be using, any external library that you'll be using, all those got installed in our application, right? Our application name is React tutorial, right? In our application, all the dependency that we'll be using, that got installed using npms, that is available in npm, it got installed. So all those installed dependencies are there on in the node modules. Okay. You can know, you will know more about how these node modules got formed, or what are the dependencies that we have, will be using in our application, that will be known to you whenever, when I'll go to the package.json, I'll be explaining about the package.json later. So there you will know, but then you have to remember, right? Node modules is formed because we have installed some dependencies that we'll be using in this application. Okay. The next is the public folder. You see there is one folder called public folder. So what is a public folder? Public folder generally contains all the static elements that will be that is part of this application, or that will be useful later. So what do you mean by static components? When I open the public folder over here, you see there are favicon.ico, some png files, some image files, some manifestations. So all these things are there, right? Then you see this index.html. Let me close this first. You see the index.html. So in our previous courses, what we have studied, index.html is the main HTML page, or the parent HTML page, which is the thing that gets loaded. Okay, so if I come to the the example of SPA, so the definition of SPA is single page application. What do you mean by single page application? Single page application, like the application will looks like it will have a single page, and all other components or all other pages will be loaded into the same page, and then it will work. That means ideally it behaves like a single page, one page. So that one page is the index.html. That is the basic page, basic HTML file, which links to every other file in our application. Okay, that was a short description, but I'll go in deep about what a single page application later. But then if you open this index.html, what you see, we see it is a typical index.html file of any basic application that we have created. A lot of applications that we have created, that is the using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, we always have index.html. This index.html is no different from that. Okay, because you see the doc type HTML, then the head, and then a lot of links over here. This is the link over here. There is a icon link over here, and there are a lot of links over here. And you see a typical title file where you see React app, right? You see React app. Now I'll change it to tutorial because our application is a tutorial. If I save over here, you see it changes to tutorial. Okay, it is the same like, and so it changes to tutorial. That means it behaves same like any other index.html file. Okay, now you see there is a body, and then you see a lot of things. Okay, you see something called the IDS root. So this is the main place where all our application exists. Okay, so div id equals root is the main application, is the place where the application exists. So here when I say all the application code exists over here, what do I mean by it is, so when you see we have a src folder like source folder. So whatever logic you will writing here in the form of component, the components, whatever logic you will be writing, all this code will be, all this code will be consumed into one, and then all this code will be located in this id equals to root div, in this div. So the entire code will lie inside this div. Okay, that is the reason this is the main brain, or the main place where the entire React application exists. Basically whatever code you write in the form of, in the components, under the src, it will be consumed, it will be clubbed together, and it will exist inside the root. Okay. And next is the source file, okay, src file. What does the src file contain? The src file basically contains entire code that you will be writing, okay. That means you will create a lot of components over here. So you will have a component folder where there will be a lot of components that you will be creating. Then there will be a folder called test where you will write all the test cases. Then there will be a folder called css where you will write all the style sheets. Then there might be a folder called utils where you will write all the utility functionalities over that is common across the application. So all these folders and all these everything that you will be writing code to make this application desirable or make the application as you think it should be, yeah, everything will be writing inside the src folder. Now in the src folder, the primary thing javascript file is the index.js. So if I open the index.js, you will see that we have something called the root, and this root is rendering. That means and there is a app over here, right? Which is a nothing but the app component over here. So if you see here, if I open this, you will see there is something called the app.js. Okay, now the app.js is the first component of our of this app that is created by default. Okay, and this app.js is a reference inside the index.js. Okay, that means the index.js is the main javascript file. Till the index.js is there, your application will be rendered in. So whatever you see rendered in your page, obviously it is this index.js is linked to our index.html where we see everything, but index.js links with everything that we will be creating in our under the src uh, folder. Okay, that means you create components, you have to link to index.js. You create anything, you will be linked to index.js. But then inside the index.js, you have this app.js, that is the app component over here, which in turn is linked to every other component. So it is bit complex is what I'm thinking I'm making you. But then I will be going deep into all these things later. But remember that index.js is the main page or main javascript file to which this app.js is linked. And to app.js, all other components that will be creating or styles, everything will be getting is linked to the app.js file. Okay, now we'll be removing a lot of boilerplate code that create React app while scaffolding here. Like we'll be removing all these things because we don't want all these things. Okay, logo.svg, we don't want everything, so we'll be removing everything. But then you understand that we can't remove index.js because it is the main JavaScript file which is needed for rendering everything. Okay. And next is the git ignore file. So what does the git ignore file says that? So in git ignore, what is there is the files that you will be ignoring for while pushing your code to the different environments or so to your repository, right? So if you have a GitHub, or if you have Bitbucket, or if you have SVN, any repository you use for your application, you change the code, you write the code, you commit your code, right? So in the commit, when you are after committing, if you are pushing it, or during commit also, you want to push only those lines of code or those files where you have made changes, right? Not like you don't want to push the node modules over here, because node modules shouldn't be pushed. It is so huge, right? It might consume more than, if your application is around 1 GB, then node modules has an extra 3 or 4 GB. You never know, because node modules contains all the dependency that you will be that you will be using while creating it, right? Generally this node modules installation happens once the code moves to the environment, that is dev or stage or production environment. When it moves, it automatically you will be writing the all the steps where the installation will take automatically, right? So no need to push the node module. So in the git ignore file, we have to mention what you have to avoid, what pushing, what which files will be avoided. So first you see node modules, we don't want to push, we don't want to commit any changes made in node modules, or don't make any changes in node modules. But then node modules shouldn't be pushed is what you have to mention over here. Then .pm file, .pnp.js, and the testing files, coverage files, and then in production the build file, no need to be pushed. And then these are the different files that no need to be pushed, because most of the files will be used while you are developing the code and not needed while pushing in the environment. These are not environment specified. In the when it goes to the environment, we can write the steps yeah, in the Jenkins or any other any other CD tool that you will be using. There you can make the write the changes, so it goes with that steps. So those steps you can add over there. So no need to push these files while you are committing. Okay, that's the reason we are using the .git ignore file, and you have to mention everything over here which files you don't want to push. Okay. Next, let's understand about package.json. So if you see below the git ignore, we are having package hyphen lock.json is there, but then below that we are having package.json. Okay, the package.json is the most important file inside our application because it contains the list of all the dependencies that will be that is there that will be using in our that in the application that we have built here using create react app it is using, or any other libraries or any other dependency you want to use it, then you have to install it over here, right? So when you see over here, you see first of all the name of the application is React Neutral, okay, and then the version is 0.1.0, okay, and it changes whenever you are deploying, it will be increased, okay. And then private history, yes, this is a private repository, okay, that is held by me. And then the dependency that we'll be using is these are the dependency that I have right now installed or create React app. While creating the create React app, it got installed, okay. These are the dependencies that is getting installed, okay. React DOM, React Script, Web Vitals, okay. But you see one more thing, we have around 6 dependency, but when you go to node modules, you have plenty of dependency. Now when I go to node modules, you see a lot of dependency, more than 100 or 200 dependencies are there. How But we are not using all these dependencies because these dependencies have come because whenever you are installing it, so if I install the testing library, then the dependency will be mentioned over here, and that will get installed in the node modules, okay. If I'm using React DOM, then this when I install it, npm install React DOM, when I'll be doing it, then the dependency get installed over here. That means that folder will be found in the node modules, inside the node modules. If I'm using React, if I'm using something like testing library slash React, if I'm using this dependency, then I have to do npm install testing library React slash React, okay. If I do that, library will get installed in my application, in my folder, and that will be appearing in the node modules, and this line will be mentioned in the package.json. So that is how in package.json whatever dependency we are installing, we'll do npm install that dependency name, then that reference will come over here in the dependency, and that basically that library will be appearing over here in the form of a folder. But you see, I'm having only 6 dependency, but the number of dependency over here are very huge. How this is possible? The reason is, whenever we are installing one of the dependency, this dependency has its own internal dependency, because these are nothing but the npm libraries, okay. These are basically found in the npm. So whenever I'm doing an npm install some dependency, which means that I am asking that particular library that is there in npm, that will be cloned from there, or that dependency will installed into my application, into my folder over here. So but that dependency, while creating that library or that dependency, it is that needed some other dependency to get created, right? That means whatever, so if you are creating a dependency called x, and that x dependency uses a b c d e 5 dependency more, then when I'm installing x, along with x, a b c d also is coming over here. So that's the reason we are having all these folders over here, which represents every library, and these library are used to create this dependency. That's the reason we are having 6 dependencies or libraries installed, but we are having more than 100, hundreds of folders created over here, because by using these we could have created this, okay. Now hope I make sense now. So you understand that whenever I'm installing a library in React or Angular or anywhere, that will be mentioned in package.json. But when those dependencies or libraries are installed, while creating those dependencies or libraries, what other libraries were needed, those will also be getting installed over here. So when I'm doing npm install something, then along with that something, all other libraries which was used to create that something will also get installed over here. Hope I'm making sense over here. That is about node modules, and that is about package.json, okay. Now coming to the package-lock.json, this is nothing but a list of all the dependency that will be that we are using over here, and then it is just a dependency tree. Like I showed in node modules, we have the dependency and the dependencies of dependencies, right? The libraries which are used to create that particular library that you have installed, all the list of all those things will be here in the package lock, right? So this is nothing but a tree of all the dependencies that you will be using. So whenever you want to see if a particular library got installed or not, or what are the dependencies of those libraries, you can come over here and then check over here. So this is a basically vestigial file that is no need for us, but then you get all the list of all the dependencies that are ever used or it is installed in our application over here, right? And then finally, if you see, we are having a readme.md file. So .md readme.md file. So here you will see all the information related to these this particular application. So these are the steps that is mentioned: npm start or npm build or anything that you will be using. Okay, and then so you can modify this file as well. You can mention what are the components that you, so anything related to our application you can mention over here, so that any new team member comes and want to see what is the application all about, then he or she can go to the readme.md file, and then he or she can go through every step or how to install it or what is the application all about. All the information about the application will be found inside this readme.md file. Okay, there is one more thing that I forgot to mention. So in package.json, if you see, there are something called the script files over here, right? The script information. So here we are having how to start the application. Okay, I am writing npm start to start the application. So when I do npm start, then internally it calls the react script, react hyphen script to the start. Okay, these messages, this information get called over here. Okay, this and then there is build, there is test, there is eject. So all this information related to how to start your script, how to start your application, how to build your application, how to test your application, or how to all this information over there. Okay, there are something called the extension that is we are using just for writing unit test case, so that is also mentioned over here. Then there is browser list over here, in production what environment you need, and then all the, and we'll be adding a lot of different other information related to our application inside this package.json file. Okay, so that was all about the folder structure of the application that we have created in the previous video. And we'll be modifying the, removing some boilerplate code, and then we'll be modifying a lot of we'll be adding a lot of components, styling, and all those things that we'll be doing inside the src folder. So hope you went through, I mean, understood the folder structure, basic folder structure that is there while creating while using create react app to create this application. So let's move to the next video.